every piece that I have has a name, has a woman name in most of the times, or a feeling that I want them to feel. Like, for example, I have these winter hats and I call them the Russian wife because they're fluffy and they're cute, and they remind me of this woman that she was married to a Russian that was very wealthy, and she will dress up with fur and cute. Or Catherine, which is the name of one of my headbands, because it reminds me of a Catherine. She looks very polished. I'm very creative when it comes to everything I bring into it, but when I look at something that I want to bring, I want to see it in someone, and I want to name it something, or someone's name, like, oh, this is going to be Christina. Christina works 9 to 5, and she wants to look nice and polished. So that's a bit of what it takes to bring every piece to the store. Hi, my name is Wendy Quintero. I am the creator of Wendylandia. It's an accessory store for women. And the goal at Wendylandia is to make women feel comfortable with tiny little pieces of accessories. A lot of the times as moms or as women in general, we are very caught up with so many things and we forget to take care of ourselves. So that's the goal for my store, to kind of empower women to feel good and confident and happy.
You know, right off the bat, one thing I want to say, we were talking before we started filming that we both have kids, and
Yeah.
we were talking about like the fact that I have kids. And one thing you just said that kind of struck me was the fact that, like, women can, moms particularly, can put themselves, like, forget about themselves very quickly. And I see that with my wife very, very often. It's like she gets so caught up in wanting to serve for the kids or even serve the household that, like, I even recognize, I'm like, hey, you gotta take care of yourself a little bit more, and trying to encourage her. So I appreciate the fact that you're trying to do that with women as well.
It's very important for women. I noticed that when I had my first daughter, I felt like I lost myself as a person, and I just wanted to dive into motherhood. My original business was actually called Lex and Motherhood. Lex is my daughter's name, my oldest, and it was about her, about being a mom. And then I realized that it's important to kind of like remember who you are as a woman,
Mm,
especially after you have children, that you are an individual. You're not just a mom, you know? So when I started that business, it was all about mom and children. I used to sell clothing, mom and daughter, kind of like geared towards that, like, mom and kids. And then I just realized that I needed to have more children, or I wanted to have more children after COVID. And then after that, I changed the name to Wendylandia, which is like Wendyland, meaning a world of things that make us happy. And it's not just like an earring or a ring or a necklace, but it's just like a feeling of like, oh, this is mine individually, from being a mom, a
mm.
wife, or anything else. So I'm working towards that to kind of like show women that, yes, you can do a lot of things, but also don't forget who you are
Mm.
and take care of yourself, which is important.
I really appreciate what you're saying about that. And my wife, again, going back to her, is actually a big advocate for that because she sees it with some of our friends in
Yeah.
that have similar age children, that the wife becomes so obsessed with becoming a mom, which is great, but they
Yeah.
lose themselves a little bit, and their whole identity becomes motherhood.
Mhm.
And while you are a mom forever, your children at some point need some independence, and
Yeah.
then who are you then?
Right. So that's one thing that I noticed right away. And my daughter wasn't even big enough to like, oh, I realized it. I realized at a very young age with my first child. She was like 5, I think. And then I realized, like, I left school. I was on my way to go to dental school, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I wanted to spend more time with her. And then I lost myself for a very long time. I think I want to say 3 years or so. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know who I wanted to be, independently from being a mom and a wife too. And then COVID happened, and then I realized, no, like, I love fashion. I grew up in a very small town. I moved to the US when I was 16. So I didn't have resources in my town of like cute things that girls, but I've always was fascinated by the American culture, and how like cute, like the Backstreet Boys or Christina Aguilera. Like, I'm a millennial, sorry. Not sorry, but that's what I was exposed to.
Mm.
So I always thought of that, but I never thought I could do it. And when I realized that, I was like, okay, we can do this. And I started with that, like kind of like using it for me, kind of like as a, I don't know, as a a therapeutic way of like opening up to what I wanted to be. And then after that, it's just turned into business. So
Mm.
yeah.
So now, do you have a brick and mortar store, or is it only online?
So everything online now, I actually just started having some of my pieces at one of my friend's store, Lloyd and Co., which is in Riverhead, one of the Tanger malls.
Hmm.
So the goal is to have a space where women can come as moms, and even if they're not mothers, but to have a space where women can come and like find things that make them happy. And a lot of the times, things that make us happy as women, it's not like a big thing like a car or a house. Although those things, sometimes can bring a bit of happiness, but it's just the smaller things that you can add to your day. And
Mhm.
then, oh, okay, like something cute that you wear and changes your mood and how you see the day, or work. Sometimes women are stuck at work that they don't love and appreciate. And it's one thing that I've been like dealing with for the past 20 years, I want to say, like doing things that you think you like, but then you don't, and then you realize like, oh, okay, let's make a change. So my goal is that to have a physical place where women can come and not just shop, but kind of like have an experience in a community to rely on other women. So
Mhm.
yeah,
So what was the catalyst to say, "Hey, I'm ready to start my own business"? You mentioned that you were in dental school, and then you had
my
your
first
daughter, and
daughter.
then you dropped out of dental school, and then like at what point were you like, "Hey, I'm ready"?
So it was, I think, 2019 that I kind of had the realization like, okay, I'm a mom, but this is not working for me. I love photography. I kind of put everything on hold when I had my daughter. And for 5 years, I want to say, dealing with motherhood, it was new to me because it was so hard. I wasn't ready. I mean, you're never ready to be a parent, but I wasn't expecting it to be that hard. To me, it was hard at that time. And I I kind of like, I don't know, it's just like I thought of it one morning. I woke up early and I'm like, I want to do this. Like I want to be able to have a space where I feel happy and I can help other women feel happy. So it was not like, oh my gosh, throughout the years, but it was like a moment of realization, like early in the morning. I think I want to do this. And I remember waking up and telling my husband, like, what if I have a store? And he's like, oh my gosh, like you're crazy. Because I have things like moments like that. And my husband, poor thing, he has to deal with that. And that's when I realized, like, yeah, I want to do this for sure. But then COVID happened. It kind of made things harder, but
Mm.
I kind of slowly work myself
Mhm.
to like building that I wanted, and troubleshooting a lot of business aspects because I did it all by myself.
So
So
what does the design process look like? Like when I was looking at your Instagram and all the
yeah,
pieces that you have, very cool things.
thank
Very
you.
unique as well, like, but not so far unique that it's like, oh, this is super eclectic, but it's like, oh,
Yeah,
this is a cool. You have a little
it's
niche
cute.
niche of yourself.
Yeah.
What's the design process with that?
So when I curate every piece in my boutique, I think of I I was talking to a friend the other day. She's like, so every piece that I have has a name, has a woman name in most of the times, or a feeling that I want them to feel. Like for example, I have these winter hats and I call them the Russian wife because they're fluffy and they're cute and they remind me of me looking at women. I used to work with very rich people and like I kind of got an exposure of like, oh, that feels like that, like it feels like this woman that she was married to a Russian that was very wealthy and she will dress up with fur and cute, or Catherine, which is the name of one of my headbands because it reminds me of a Catherine. She looks very polished. So that takes a lot into, I'm very creative when it comes to
I like
everything
that.
I bring into it. But when I look at something that I want to bring, I want to see it in someone and I want to name it something or someone's name. Like, oh, this is going to be Christina. Christina works 9 to 5 and she wants to look nice and polished. So that's a bit of what it takes to bring every piece to the store.
I think that's a really unique. I really like that actually, the
Some
naming
people,
process.
yeah, some people say I'm a bit crazy when it comes to that, but
I
that's
think
the
it's cool. I
feeling.
think it's we live in a world where we say like stereotypes or judgments are a bad thing.
Yeah,
And to some degree I understand that concept, but to
right.
some degree that it's just the reality of life. Like
Yeah,
we do
yeah,
subconsciously judge and have these stereotypes, and I think that's a cool way of doing it where it's like, oh, you're right. I could, as soon as you say Catherine, I know exactly like the vibe you're giving, and
yeah,
it's a cool way to incorporate that into your business. I think that's pretty unique.
yeah. And he's directing it specifically to, it doesn't specifically have to be a Catherine or a Christina, but it's just like, I don't know, some sort of connection to a personality
Yeah.
or of some sort. Because I feel like when we shop because something we feel when we see that. That's how I shop. I remember in September, me and my husband went to Paris, and I went to the Dior house. It's like where Christian Dior had like a small office, and they had like a display. And I was fascinated by how every hats that he had on his desk and everything was like not. I know they probably staged it, but it looked like women were there and they were getting dressed. They were putting on pearls and hats and dresses. So it inspired me to like, okay, this is what I want to do because I want to embrace womanhood, I guess, and kind of like everyone has their own personality and the way they shop and the way they feel about certain
Mm,
things. So it's a cool way of bringing everybody in
yeah.
and kind of making every woman feel seen, I guess
Yeah.
you want to say. Yeah.
Very interesting. And
Yeah.
like you said, every personality type's looking for a
Yeah.
specific thing, and I think that it's cool that you're touching on all these different things and
Yeah.
trying to connect to them in that certain way. And obviously, the Catherine doesn't have to wear the Catherine, but it is a certain vibe again.
Yeah.
Uh, so the process that you go through is not necessarily you're not necessarily designing them, but you're bringing in products into your boutique that you think
Right.
match your brand, correct?
So my specialty is headbands. I make them.
Oh, okay.
And well, not all of them, but I have stopped designing for a bit. But yeah, the process is the same thing. So I go through fabrics, and I know a lot of the girls now, like the color is not a thing, which is kind of one of my goals for 2026 because color is important. And I feel like even in restaurants, you see it. Like I give you an example of brands of like McDonald's, where everything now is like two-tone and that's it. When I feel like color is important in everyone's life. So when I design it, it's the same thing. I think of girls that don't like a lot of colors, and I look at those fabrics and like embellishments that I add to it, or girls that like color, like me. Like I like to add a little bit of something. It doesn't have to be flamboyant, but something cute. And then you think of that. So it goes back to that, like including everyone, girls that like color, girls that don't like color, girls that will wear earrings, or girls that won't wear earrings. Like, what do I have to give them?
Hmm.
A hat, a scarf, gloves, or headbands, or I don't know, small little necklace that
Hmm.
they like.
So how do you find the products to bring into the boutique?
So when you are as a retailer, there's a lot of wholesalers. Most of them are in LA, and then you have to meet with the, I don't know, the how do you call them, the providers, I guess. Not really
The
providers, but
sales reps, maybe?
yeah, but they call it something else, but the name's skipping. But let's think of it providers. Like they are suppliers is the word. Sorry, suppliers. So you meet with them. They have showcases in LA. You go, you touch, you smell, you test the quality. I like to test everything I sell. I put it on. For example, I have a collection during the summer where a lot of my jewelry is not gold per se, but is stainless steel. So I go in the ocean, I get away,
Hmm.
and I test it while I'm on vacation and see like if it tarnishes. Is like my jewelry is hypoallergenic, so I want to make sure that what I'm selling is actually what I'm selling. So I remember going on the ocean and on vacation last summer and bringing all of these pieces together because my supplier was like, oh, it's hypoallergenic, it's good. And I'm like, I need to test it. So I did. I went in the ocean with all of my jewelry. I actually have a video on Instagram. And I got it wet and it survived. I still have it and nothing has tarnished. So it takes that. It's just kind of like trial and error because you will find suppliers that like they will sell you something good, but it's not. And then you'll have somebody that will say like, oh, okay, just try this. And it actually ends up being very good. So
So how does inventory work? Do you keep everything in house or do you order as needed? What's that process look like?
a bit of both, I want to say. A lot of things are not. It's funny because when you're putting a collection together, you think that, oh, this is gonna sell out, and it doesn't. So if you see that a specific product or piece is like not selling out, then you just like stop supplying it. So a lot of the things I buy, like for example, headbands are the things that I always have on stock because it's my specialty. So I always have a lot of those. But like hats and scarves is a seasonal thing. So you just buy according to how much you're selling. Like you buy 2 dozens and sell them, or maybe I need to, and I have my supplier in New York for that for wintry
Hmm.
things. So I have access to it. So I just launch it and see how it goes, and then after that, then you decide.
Hmm.
But like summer things, summer is a bit short, but you want to start selling it at an earlier time during the year, like when winter's over. And then that kind of like varies. So if everything sells out, I just launch it a specific quantity and that's it. Never see it until next year.
Mm.
But headbands, I guess, is the thing that I'm known for. So that's always there.
I want to talk marketing briefly because
Yeah.
the boutique style is a really interesting concept to me because
Yeah.
it incorporates the business aspect while also utilize. It's almost like essentially subcontracting, quote unquote,
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
And now it finally just clicked into my head because I've been following for years this line, a men's clothes, like essentially a men's boutique line,
Right.
and I didn't realize there would be boutique until you were explaining the process of what you do,
Yeah.
because what their name is, I think it's called Huckberry or Huckleberry or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm looking back, I'm like, they don't really have many. They had now at this point they have a line of their own, but they had all these other lines that they were selling, and I'm like, oh, it's really no different than what you do.
Yeah.
They are a name, and then they bring in all these other brands and of whatever it may be, whether like it's a kind of like an outdoorsy kind of thing. So whether it be like
Mm-hmm.
fire starters or weatherproof clothing or gloves or boots, like, but it's all different brands.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting concept. But one of the things so in talking about marketing, one of the reasons I love following them is they do an incredible job at marketing,
Yeah.
but not as a sales aspect, from a branding aspect. What they do um, is they tell you about the piece and why it would be great. And they almost like this, kind of like what you were saying about the taking the into the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
like branding it like that. Like they have one of their reps or whoever like go on a 3 day, outdoors thing wearing the shirt and like saying, oh, this it was great because it didn't rip and this and that, and like it's like why it made you feel like, wow, this is so cool, and
Yeah.
it makes you want to buy it, not because they sold it to you, but because I want to live that life, if that makes sense.
Right. So it's an experience
Yeah, they're
point of view.
selling an
Like, so you're
experience.
branding it from the feeling of it, which is the way you brand.
Mm.
When I was in college, I took a lot of marketing classes and I loved the idea. I'll give you an example. One of my projects was to sell somebody a tissue box of Kleenex. And I love doing I love talking, if you haven't noticed, but I love the presentation because I use Kleenex and I have severe allergies. And I remember doing the presentation, and my professor at that time, she was like the head marketing for, I think, Godiva. That's what she was. One of the chocolates, because Godiva is made by Hershey's, but people don't need to know that. So she was like, oh my gosh, this is so great because you're selling them an experience. So the same thing goes to branding or marketing in that sense. You want to sell people by when they feel something. If they're not connected, they're like, I don't want that. So that part of marketing, it is challenging because it requires a lot of time and a lot of research too. And if you don't have the time for it, it's just like not good. But also point of like, who are you selling it to? It's not what I'm getting. I'm not picking things for me, although I wish I was. I'm picking things for somebody. So when you look at marketing and branding in that aspect from that point of view, then I guess you become very successful. Like the brand you were saying, like you're selling them an experience and telling them, hey, you need this because of this. And people buy it like that for
Hmm.
sure. And then going back to, yes, it's kind of, I would like to say curating. Think of Home Goods or I don't know,
Mm.
TJ Maxx. They are a brand or a selection of brands because Home Goods, TJ Maxx, Home Sense, they all work together and they don't make their stuff. They just work with local artists or local I don't know, creators, I want to say, and they bring their things to the store and they sell it to people. And people don't know about I like art a lot. And I buy a lot of the arts. And every time you buy from TJ Maxx, if you notice, they have the description on the painting of who the artist was. And you can actually reach out to the artist if you wanted to, like if you see something you like or you want to see what they're about. So that it's very kind of like what I do in a nutshell, if
Yeah,
that
it's
makes
very
sense.
interesting that like
Um,
it when you put it in that terms, it's like, oh yeah, it makes total sense.
yeah,
I never really even thought of TJ Maxx or
yeah,
Marshalls or any of these things as boutiques, but they really are.
they are,
They're
and
national boutiques.
yeah, and they bring a lot of pieces from people around and
That's
kind
so
of like
fascinating.
it's showcasing other people's work,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah,
Think of a gallery, you put things there, and people go and see it and
yeah.
enjoy it. If they like it, they buy it. If they don't, they just admire and keep going.
So how do you get your business name out there? What are you actively doing?
So I'm doing a lot of things. I always get told that I do a lot and I'm everywhere, because my goal is to kind of like spread branding awareness, and it's not about selling, because I that's not my main goal. My main goal is to create a community of women that are
Mm,
genuine, and because I've met a lot of women that they play that they are cool but they're not, a lot. Like this has happened to me many times. But my goal is to create that, to create a safe place where women can be who they are. They can say if they're sad or they're happy, because a lot of the times we go through things mentally that we don't feel comfortable sharing, and we don't have that safe space to share. So my goal is that, to create a brand that embraces women and what they go through in life and how hard it is. Not that, we're better than men, but we do have a lot on our plates in a constant, and we're very like psychologically thinking of things all the time. When men is just one way, women think, oh, there's so many ways you can do this. So
mm.
my goal is that, to create a space and a community for women to feel safe and find cute things on the way too. So
So what does that look like in the process before you have an actual brick and mortar?
okay, so I'll give you an example. I am working this February on my first ever fashion show. I'm so excited about it. I'm going to be part of this event. It's called Modern Day Wife, and there I get to showcase and like create an experience for creators that go to the event, and then have the fashion show. I'm relaunching my like clothing, because I had two kids back to back, so I was my own model. So I wasn't in the best shape to be showing clothing, so I stopped for a bit. And it's just like being there for girls.
Mm.
And I don't want to say girls because a lot of women don't like to say that, but being there for women and kind of like having them an experience. So one of the experiences that we're creating for this particular event is that, like, having me time. The beginning of the year, a lot of people put a lot of pressure how they want to look, what they want to work for.
Tell me
And
about the fashion show. What does that entail?
so I get to choose 10 outfits or 10 looks for, and it's funny because I get to choose, some of my friends are creators going to the event to be models, and then you just put them together. I have to create like a vision board, what I want them to look like. And the specific fashion show, the theme that I chose is like the day in the life, like early morning pajamas and slippers, or they're cute, by the way. So that was my main thing when I met with the creators, to people that do the fashion show. I want it to be like an experience of how women go through their day, morning,
Mm.
having breakfast with the kids, dropping off the kids. What does that look like? Do you feel comfortable in what you're wearing? And then if you go on a date night with your husband or your partner, or if you're having a girls' night out, like, what does that look like? What are you wearing? How are you feeling? So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that's very cool. Do you have it all prepared?
Yep, I'm finalizing it this week, and I'm very excited about this.
So now you're curating the whole outfit then, correct?
Yep, every piece of it.
Mm.
Except for some shoes, because my collection of shoes is a bit limited, but I am uh, creating everything. I specific look, specific field, and
So
every
tell me
piece
about
of,
that process. Like, for example, the afternoon. Like,
yeah.
what does the afternoon look, and how are they? How did you curate that?
So I have to put a collection together, and again with my vendors from LA, which hopefully everything gets here on time. But I have to put a kind of like, think of pieces in your closet and why would you wear them. So I started with the idea of what a day looks like. So we start with pajamas. I have pajamas already that I sell in my store, my boutique, and so they're wearing pajamas and slippers. Everything is cute, and it's Valentine's Day weekend. That's when the event's taking place. So things have to be like a bit romanticized, which
Hmm.
is very lovely, and girls like that. And then we're dropping off our kids or running errands if you don't have children. You don't have to have children, right? And then that looks like specific way, like something comfortable but cute. You can be wearing a cute hat with a cute jacket or a top. Kind of like changes your mood to start your day. And then you go into the office, or not. Maybe your office is in the house, and then you're wearing a cute little blazer with some denim and obviously comfortable shoes because we're always running. And then if you're going to a business meeting, I have a special number that I chose, which is really cute. I think I'm going to be wearing that one to kind of look like a grown up. And then you have a girls' night out, which is a really cute outfit that I think the girls are going to love. So it's exciting.
So
So
the process then is you have a design that you're going for, a
yeah,
specific look, and then you talk to the suppliers and say, hey, I'm
this
looking
is
for
what
this
I
kind
want.
of shirt or top or blouse, or I'm looking for these kind of pants. Like, is that correct? Or
Right. So the suppliers that I work with, they have catalogs. So then they have thousands of designs of pieces that you can select from. And then based on what you want and the feel that you want your store to have, you choose these pieces. I like to say that a lot, curating the pieces, kind of like you choosing what you want in your store and the feel that you want. So that's how you work with them, with the suppliers. You're like, oh, I want this. I don't like that. How does that feel? Send me a picture.
Hmm.
Send me a video because you want to see what the fabric looks like. Or because a lot of the time they take photos and it looks cute, but it's not what you expect it to be. So that it's the fun part of putting a collection together. You get to like ask questions and make sure that things are sustainable and things are cute and they're comfortable and if they feel good, because a lot of the times you have fast fashion and I have nothing against it, but you always want it, even if it's like affordable, you want it to have a good quality per se. And that's very important to me. So
So let's talk about that really quickly. I'm curious your opinion on fast fashion versus what would be the alternative be? Slow fashion, like
well,
uh,
fast fashion is, do you
yeah,
know
yeah,
what?
yeah, like the
Okay.
H&M kind of thing.
Well, H&M is not really much fast fashion. Fast fashion will be now like Temu or
Oh, okay,
Shein.
okay.
So it is like you see something on the wrong way, you right away go and replicate. Doesn't matter the material, how fast it takes, the labor, like how much you're spending on whoever's it,
Or not spending.
right. So that to me is fast fashion. I want to say, like, as a person that grew up with very limited resources growing up, I am like torn because a lot of the times, if you were a designer and you work so hard on a design and somebody just comes and replicates that and sells it for a
Mm,
fraction, it's not fair. Because a creator, you want to make sure that you get your money's worth of all the hard work you put into. But also, if you look at it, there are people that cannot afford like $2,000 Chanel jacket or even more. I'm a Chanel fan, so that's why I'm saying that. But you want to look like that. So my goal with that is like make sure that what you're selling is sustainable, but also kind of like giving a peek to those that cannot afford it to kind of look the part. You don't
mhm.
need to spend thousands of dollars to look good. I've seen women that just buy from H&M and they look great, and women that buy from Dior and they look the same. So not that they're the same, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I'm like 50-50, yes and no kind of thing. I understand it, but I just don't.
It's been interesting how we've conformed our society and the way we think to that even investing in a piece is harder to do these days,
It is so
and
hard.
even in something as simple as a jacket, like
Yeah.
just the whole paradigm has completely shifted of even the fact of like, oh, yeah, it'll last 10 years, but do I even want it to last 10 years? Like, is it
Yeah.
even going to be in style in 10, like, and 50 years ago, 100 years ago, there wasn't even a question. It was just like but you spend a lot of money on it because it would cost a lot of money to make, but then it would last 25 years. And then,
Yeah.
and I don't know, it's just interesting how society has changed and just the way we think about things has changed.
Yeah. And it's like I said, I'm 50-50 because I get it, but then I don't get it. Things do cost a lot of money and the whole economy is like insane. But then I understand from a creator's point of view, like you design something, you choose the fabrics, you want it to be good, and then somebody else
Mm,
just sells it for $20. But mine is 500, you know? So I get it. But then there should be like some sort of like,
middle ground.
yeah, for
Mm,
sure, where people can look good. And
mhm.
like I said, I've seen both ends. I seen girls that spend $20 in something that someone spent 500 and they look very similar. I don't
Right.
want to say they look the same. They look very similar.
Mm,
And then when you are trying to provide for a family, and I get it. I know that we consume a lot and I feel like sometimes it's okay like to get you something nice, but a lot of the times it's just like a deeper hole that you're like, okay, I have to buy everything new. I'm going on vacation, and it doesn't have to be like that. So I am torn when it comes to that because I like nice things, but then every time in my personal experience, every time I buy something, I have to give something away because I don't want to just have a lot of things in my closet. There's
There's
no
only
need
so
for
much
that.
space you have too.
Yeah. So then I make it my goal to donate some clothes that, okay, this doesn't fit anymore. I'm not going to lose weight to fit into it because that's what we tell each other. It's like, oh, I'm going to lose weight. And that, no. I do that every 3 months, I want to say. I just kind of put something in, let's give something out to kind of help out. And I don't know, make myself feel better.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm not a woman, but I have the same issues with wanting to hold on to clothes. Like, I
Yeah.
just recently, my wife and I just went out to make some returns after the holidays, and
Yeah.
I wanted to get new pants, and I realized, hey, I'm not the same pant size I was for the past 10 years. The
Yeah.
dad bod is starting to kick in a little, and I'm a
I
size up, and now I'm like, oh, now I gotta go get rid. What if I just lose a little weight and try to get into those pants again? It's like, what if I like?
It
I
never
want to just
happens.
accept it.
I have a beautiful jacket that I designed with one of my suppliers because I wanted to bring it to the store. I'm talking about 5 years ago. Okay, this is pre-COVID. I designed it. I was like, I want it like this. I want it like that. Tailor jacket. That jacket has been sitting in my closet for 5 years. I've never went back to the size I was. And I just don't want to get rid of it. I told my daughter, she's very tall. She's like my size. And then I'm like, do you want to wear it? She's like, I don't like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I designed it for somebody. Nobody wants to wear it. It's beautiful jacket, but I just have it there. So you will never fit into that jacket again. There's no way. You have 3 kids already. Let it go. So things like that, like I totally relate, but
Oh
we
man.
have to let go.
Yeah, and I admire your candid, like your candid personality about it. I think that some people hold on very tightly and are
Yeah.
very ashamed of that, and it's just embracing the reality of life.
Yeah.
It's just funny. I don't know.
That's how you become a hoarder, like holding
Yeah,
on
yeah,
to it for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And that has so much like emotional attachment to it too. And I didn't know this. I heard someone say that every time you hold on to something that you're not used, like if you have a piece of item in your closet that you haven't used in a year, you don't need it. You don't. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you're just holding on to things that are not doing any good. So just move on, give it to
Why do you think
somebody.
it's so hard for people to move on?
I feel like it's a way of I don't know, a sense of like hope and of change for something that might not have any hope.
Mm,
But giving it up is not giving up hope. It's just like maybe this didn't work, but maybe something else will
mm,
work. And the same thing happens with things in general. And as human beings, we like to hold on to the past and not let it go. Like, oh, I don't want this to change. I am one of those people. Like, I don't like change. I hate changing things. I need a structure. It needs to be this way. And when something changes, it's just like, ugh, like the whole world.
yeah.
But it's necessary. In order for you to grow, you need to make changes.
I think I need to know what I need to do when I get home. I need to clean out some closets, man.
Let's clean it up. It's the new year. You gotta do it. You
Oh
gotta do
yeah,
it. Just donate some pieces.
yeah.
You tell me. I know where to send some donations.
Uh,
The guy knows me by my name already. He's like,
really?
oh, more stuff, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Where do you send your stuff?
I'm in Montauk. So, excuse me. This one is in Levittown. Is it Levittown? In Massapequa, because it's borderline Levittown, Massapequa. It's they have a thrift shop, and then they take donations in, and they give you a little coupon for your taxes too,
Mm.
in case you want to use it. But I bring a lot of stuff every day. It's like, okay, I'm sorry, okay, give it up to the people
No, I hear you, man. I
because
hear it.
it's good. And then one day it's gonna be a vintage piece somewhere, but it's not in my closet. Somebody else is using it, so that's cool, and
It's
it's good
true.
for the environment too. So
Yeah.
just saying.
So what's next in your business? What do you see coming up?
So next will be the fashion show. My goal this year is to create a lot of education parties, I want to say. I am a very creative person. If I'm telling you, you'll be crazy. So I went to school to be a graphic designer with photography background. I used to be a photographer. I loved it. I put my camera down 11 years ago. I never touched it again. But that's one thing that I've always done, even on my phone, because my phones are like very good now. So my goal this year is to share with people like a lot of the knowledge I have that I feel like we all need. Learning is very important. And even if you think you know it all,
Mm.
you always learn from somebody. And I am planning to do that, like share knowledge, but also receiving from people. I'm learning French.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my main goal for this year. I need to learn French. I know a bit, but my French is rusty, so I need to say it. And then create kind of like expand my community of women that that want to grow, and even girls. I want to say girls because sometimes women get like offended when we say girls, but kind of like create an environment where women want to grow and maybe start their businesses. Maybe they cook, maybe they bake, maybe they sew, and fear takes a lot when it comes to starting a business. My goal for 2026 is that, like, make women feel like I'm ready. You're
Mm.
never ready to start a business. It's like you're never ready to be a mom
Mhm.
or a parent. You're never ready. Just go make mistakes, learn from them, don't do them again, and then that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to be respectful of your time, and I want to wrap it up in a minute. But
Mhm.
before this is just a curious question that I have.
Yeah.
How far in advance do you have to plan uh your I don't know what the word, but the curated lines? So, for example, when do you start planning summer? When do you start planning winter? Because obviously you can't do it in summer because you need to have all the
Right.
products. So, what does that look like?
So think of a season before. So right now I'm working on summer. Summer, it's like a few months in. So everything needs to be done a season before. So let's say I'm in winter, I'm planning for spring. I'm in spring, I'm planning for winter. And kind of like summer and spring go together with fall and winter. So that's how I do it. So you do it a season before, and then you have all the pieces. You say this is going to work. And you also have to do a lot of research because you want to see what's going to be season for. Let's say now, December just passed, holiday passed. So I have to do research now. What's going to be trending or what's going to be like popular
So,
during
what
the
do you think is going to be popular in the summer?
in the summer. I think a lot of like feminine for women, obviously, a lot of feminine dresses and a lot of pearly things because I see that a lot. Like we are going to be wearing like curly stuff and colorful things. Not because I like color, but that's in my research that I've been doing for the spring and summer. A lot of florals, a lot
Compared
of
to
pearls.
what was it beforehand that now it?
So last year we saw a bit of that, but it was more like muted
Mm.
colors, like very beige, like very like soft tones. Now we'll see more pink, more pastels, more like greens and blues. I think blue is gonna be. I know Pantone said that white's gonna be the color, but I think blue is gonna be the color of the season. And I'm not a blue person, by the way. I know my nails are blue, but I'm not. It's just an accident. I went to Backstreet Boys concert, so. But I think blue it's gonna be a big color this
Mm.
year and in the whole year.
Interesting.
We saw a bit of it last year. So think of like the trends that was happening during the holidays, like the Ralph Lauren. Everything was like family. Everything was like cozy and colorful and reds and greens and blues, which we didn't see the Christmas before because people wanted to decorate their trees with just one color, like white or beige. I'm a big Christmas person, by the
Very interesting. I see. It's just I don't follow the trend of fashion as much, and it's very interesting to just
Yeah.
learn about it.
So the same thing we saw for
So I'm gonna
Christmas.
keep my eye out this year,
Yeah, you'll see
and I'm
a
gonna
lot of
a lot
color.
of blues and color. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
blue is definitely.
What do you think influences those trends?
It goes back to feeling, how people feel. So a lot of millennials like myself, we feel some sort of nostalgia to what was. Again, not letting go of the past, right? So it's how you feel like, oh, do you remember this? Do you remember that? So then you bring that in forward, and
Mm.
designers they go by that stuff. Like I feel like TikTok is big. If you're a designer in any way, fashion or art, whatever, you look for that because you want to sell it, right? But you want to see what people are attracted to.
Hmm.
And nostalgia, for sure, influences every aspect of commerce, I want to say,
Mm.
because people buy with feelings
Yeah, there's
for
deep
sure.
feeling with nostalgia.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
very interesting. I'm gonna keep my eye out. It's very, very
You'll
interesting.
see, Blue. I'll message you. See,
Please,
I
yeah.
told
I
you.
want to see it. I want to see it. I'll keep my eye out. That's funny.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the question I like to wrap it up with all my guests is what is something you know now in your business that you wish you knew when you first started out?
Not to be afraid, for sure.
In what sense?
In every sense. I started before COVID, my original business, or my first business, and I was terrified. I registered my business, I opened my bank, I did everything by myself. But I was very much afraid of what people will say, what
Hmm.
people will do, people wouldn't like it. It doesn't matter. Just do it. Because it's better. I always think of this, an example of like the creator of a light bulb. How many light bulbs did he create it before he actually got one to work? It was like a 99. The 100th light bulb was the one that worked. So if you give up at 99, we would have never had the light bulb. So it's that. It's just not to be afraid. It's okay to fail. People are always gonna talk. You do good, people talk. You go bad, people talk. You
That's
just
true.
gotta go. Just gotta go
Yeah,
and do it,
absolutely.
and do it for yourself too. We do it for our families, but you have to do it for yourself first because you need to believe it yourself, and then
Yeah.
everybody else will.
Well, it was an absolute pleasure. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing all your insight.
Of
I'm
course,
looking
thank
forward
you, thank you.
looking forward to seeing the blues.
Yes, for sure. Look, I'm wearing some
I
blue.
know. I don't think I didn't notice. Absolutely.
I didn't even notice myself.
Well,
Thank you,
I'm looking forward to seeing the fashion show and everything
thank
involved with
you.
that. So it's been a pleasure. I'll
Yes.
thank you so much for your time.